Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're exploring the last true frontier. It isn't in the depths of space or at the bottom of the ocean. It's much closer than that. It's right behind your eyes. We're talking about the human brain, a 3-pound universe of wrinkled tissue that holds every memory you've ever had, every hope, every fear, every dream. It is the most complex object we have ever discovered. But inside this intricate machine lurks the greatest mystery of all, a ghost in the machine, a silent observer. We call it consciousness. What is it? Where does it come from? And what happens when the machine breaks down? Join us as we dive into the hidden secrets of the mind. Take a moment. Feel the air on your skin. Hear the sound of my voice. See the world around you. Now, ask yourself a simple question. Who's the you that is doing all of this? This feeling of being I, this private inner movie that you experience every moment of your waking life, is the essence of consciousness. It feels so fundamental, so real, but scientists who study the brain have a very big problem. They can't find it. They can open up the brain. They can map its every fold. They can see its electrical signals, its chemical messengers. They can see the machinery at work, but they cannot find the person watching the show. It is the ultimate mystery. How does this lump of matter create the non-physical experience of being you? Our journey begins with the hardware, the brain itself. It's made of about 86 billion special cells. They are called neurons. Imagine a city with 86 billion lights, each one capable of flashing on and off. Each neuron connects to thousands of other neurons, forming a network of staggering complexity, a web with 100 trillion connections. More connections than there are stars in our galaxy. When you think a thought or feel an emotion, a storm of electricity flashes through this network, a unique pattern of light in the city of your mind. This is the physical basis of your experience. A Spanish scientist named Santiago Ramon Quayle was the first person to truly see this world. In the late 19th century, he used stains and a microscope ... to reveal the intricate beauty of individual neurons. He called them the mysterious butterflies of the soul. He realized the brain wasn't a single continuous mesh. It was a network of individual cells, all talking to each other, all whispering across tiny gaps called synapses. This discovery laid the foundation for modern neuroscience. It told us that everything we are is written in the connections of this living web. But this only deepened the central mystery. If our mind is a network ... is there a center? Is there a master neuron that is the real you? A place where it all comes together? For a long time, philosophers imagined a Cartesian theater, a single spot in the brain where a little you sits ... watching all the sensory information on a screen. But we have searched, and there is no theater. There is no single seat of consciousness. The truth, as it turns out, is far stranger and far more unsettling. In the 1960s, two neuroscientists, Roger Sperry and Michael Gazzaniga, conducted a series of revolutionary experiments. They worked with patients who had severe epilepsy. To stop their seizures, these patients underwent a drastic surgery. Their corpus callosum was severed. This is the massive bundle of nerves ... that connects the left and right hemispheres of the brain. In daily life, the patients seemed perfectly normal. They could walk, talk, and live their lives. But in the lab ... Sperry and Gazzaniga discovered something shocking. These patients did not have one mind. They had two separate consciousnesses, living in the same skull. Here's how they found out. The left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, and the right side of your brain controls the left. Your left brain is also where language is processed. It's the part of you that talks and explains things. The right brain is more visual and intuitive, but it is mostly silent. In the experiment, they would show a word to the patient's right brain only. by flashing it to their left field of vision. Let's say the word was key. Because the right brain has no language, the patient would say, I see nothing. But then they would ask the patient to use their left hand to pick out the object from a group of items, and the hand would correctly pick up the key. The right brain knew. It just couldn't say so. But here is where it gets truly strange. The scientist then asked the patient's left brain, the talking part, why did you pick up the key? The left brain had no idea why. It didn't see the word. But it couldn't just say, I don't know. Instead, it instantly made up a story. A plausible but completely false explanation. The patient might say, oh, I was thinking about my house key. Sperry and Gazzaniga called the left brain the interpreter. Its job is not just to experience the world, but to create a coherent narrative about it, a story that makes sense of our actions and feelings, even if that story is a complete fabrication. This discovery was terrifying. It meant that even in a normal brain, much of what we do is driven by unconscious processes. And our conscious mind, the part that we think of as us, is just a storyteller making sense of it all after the fact. If the self can be split in two with a simple cut, what is the self to begin with? Is it just a useful illusion? A story our left brain tells us ... to help us navigate the world. The mystery of our unified experience only gets deeper. Think about a simple experience. You see a red car drive past. Your brain processes this event in a strange way. The color red is processed in one part of your brain, the shape of the car in another, the motion of it driving past ... in yet another part. These different pieces of information ... are handled by different neural networks in different locations. So how do you experience it as a single unified event? A red car moving. This is known as the binding problem, and it is one of the biggest unsolved puzzles in neuroscience. How does the brain bind all these separate streams of information into one seamless conscious experience? We don't know. There is no master area where it all comes together. It just ... happens. This suggests something profound about our reality. The world you are experiencing right now is not a direct reflection of what is out there. It is a construction, a simulation created by your brain. Your brain takes in noisy, incomplete data from your senses. It then uses its past experience and built-in rules to make its best guess about what is out there. And it presents that guess to you as a finished product. High-definition reality. A flawless. Your brain fills in the gaps. It smooths over the rough edges. The world doesn't just look colorful. Your brain paints the color onto it. The world doesn't just sound loud. Your brain generates the experience of loudness. You are not a passive observer of the world. You are the active creator of your own universe. This brings us to another disturbing question. If our brain is creating this show, who is in charge? Do we have free will? For centuries, this was a question for philosophers. But in the 1980s, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet designed an experiment that brought it into the lab. The experiment was simple. He asked subjects to sit and watch a special, fast-moving clock. He told them to simply decide on their own time, to flick their wrist, and to note the exact position of the clock hand at the moment they consciously decided to act. While they did this, he measured their brain activity using an EEG. The results were a bombshell. Libet found that there was a buildup of brain activity, a signal called the readiness potential, that started about half a second before the person was consciously aware of their decision. Let me repeat that. Your brain has already started the process of acting ... before you have decided to act. Your conscious decision seems to be one of the last things to happen, not the first. This has been replicated in many different ways. With modern brain scanners, scientists can sometimes predict a person's choice. up to 10 seconds before the person themselves knows what they will choose. The implications are staggering. Is our feeling of free will just an illusion? Are we just spectators watching a story unfold that our unconscious brain has already written? The debate still rages. Some argue the experiments are flawed. Others say that free will is more complex than a simple wrist flick. But the evidence challenges our most basic sense of self. The sense that we are the authors of our own lives. It seems the deeper we look into the brain, the more the I we are so sure of seems to slip through our fingers. And this mystery takes on an even stranger dimension when we look at the very edges of human experience, when the brain itself begins to fail. Consider the phenomenon of near-death experiences, or NDEs. People from all cultures all over the world who have been clinically dead and then resuscitated often report similar profound experiences, a feeling of leaving their body, traveling through a tunnel towards a bright light, a life review where their entire life flashes before their eyes, a feeling of overwhelming peace and love. For a long time, science had a straightforward explanation. These are hallucinations caused by a brain that is shutting down. Lack of oxygen, a flood of endorphins, and random firing in the temporal lobes could create these illusions. It's the brain's final fireworks show before the lights go out. This explanation makes a lot of sense, but there is a troubling detail. Some NDE survivors have reported things that they could not possibly have known. They describe conversations between doctors in the operating room, the details of the medical equipment used, or events happening in the hospital waiting room, all while they were unconscious with no measurable brain activity. How is this possible? Science does not yet have a good answer. These cases are rare and hard to verify, but they present a profound challenge to our understanding. They hint that the relationship between the brain and consciousness, maybe even stranger than we can imagine, is consciousness produced by the brain, like music from a radio, or is the brain more like an antenna, receiving a signal of consciousness that exists ... somewhere else? This sounds like spirituality, not science, but it is a question that our current models struggle with. And it leads us to the final mind-bending frontier, the future of consciousness itself. If consciousness is just a product of the brain's network, if it's all just information processing, then in theory, it could be replicated. This is the idea behind mind uploading. Could we one day scan every neuron and every connection in your brain and create a perfect digital copy? A simulation of you that could live forever in a computer? Would that simulation be conscious? Would it be you? Or would it just be a very convincing copy? A philosophical zombie that acts like you but has no inner experience? We don't know the answer. It is the ultimate test of what consciousness really is. But this line of thinking leads to an even more unsettling idea, one first proposed seriously by the philosopher Nick Bostrom. The simulation argument, it goes like this. If a civilization ever becomes advanced enough ... to create realistic simulations of their ancestors, they would likely run billions or trillions of such simulations. If that's the case, then the number of simulated minds would vastly outnumber the one original real universe. So, statistically speaking, it is far more likely that we are one of the simulations ... than the original base reality. How could we ever know? We couldn't. Any test we perform would be part of the simulation's rules. It is a perfect logical trap, an idea that is impossible to disprove. We are left staring at our own reflection, asking if the face we see is truly real. So where does this leave us? We began with a 3-pound organ of matter. We journeyed through its electrical city. We found 2 minds living in one head. We discovered our reality is a beautiful illusion. We questioned our own free will. and we ended on the edge of a simulated universe. The more we learn about the brain, the how of its mechanics, the bigger the mystery of consciousness, the why of experience becomes. This is what philosophers call the hard problem. And we have not even begun to solve it. Perhaps the brain's greatest secret is that it is a tool for the universe to become aware of itself. Through our eyes, the cosmos looks back in wonder. Through our minds, it asks these impossible questions. We are the ghost in the machine, but we are also the machine itself. A walking, talking mystery, forever trying to understand its own reflection. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and share it. And if you have any strange questions you want us to explore, let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching,